a brew pub was my dream until I did own one. I've been getting some requests for me to share my brew pub owning experience. So this is this video, guys. I'm just out for a walk. I've been sick and away and for 3 weeks off and on, and I'm just trying to get myself burn some of the beer belly off. So bear with me because I'm just going to ramble here a bit because this is not a planned video. So I'm just going to tell you the story. So I've been brewing for many years, over 20. During that time, I was working a career as an insurance adjuster, and I owned a couple other businesses in the past. Always been an entrepreneur, to some degree or another, either online or bricks and mortars. And my dream was to open a brewery. After I got brewing for a while and all these other microbreweries started popping up, I said, hey, if they can do it, I can do it. Looked into it a bit, a lot of financial investment involved. Back in the early days, the government funded a few of the local breweries around here, or provided funding, on top of, I'm sure, some of their own funding. By the time I looked into it, those were all gone. So you need hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy these big 15, 20 barrel systems, 7 barrel systems even. It's a lot of cash, which I did not have and did not have access to. So I started looking into it a little more, and I came across some different breweries in the US and out west in Canada. They were very nano breweries. Very much, I should say, nano breweries. Very much small batch. We're talking, 1, 2, 3 barrels type of deal. They were boutique, meaning instead of the traditional model where you brew your beer and then sell it to other pubs and restaurants and golf courses and liquor stores and beer stores, they were in-house. So they created an in-house experience where people would want to come in and drink their beer. So I decided to go that route. I decided to call it Bootstrap Brew Pub. If you've been around business ever, you'll know that bootstrapping means to build a business cheaply, buy your bootstraps. So that's what we did. I went looking for a financial partner for financial purposes. Found one. He was supposed to be a silent partner. I think he ended up enjoying the owning a brewery, brew pub as much as I did, because it wasn't silent. So it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun together. Made some neat marketing videos and things together. And we had about, I think we did it for $60K total. We had about $80K set aside, but we did it for about $60K, which I'm sure you're shaking your head at because that is cheap for a brewery. What did we do? We used 1-barrel systems. We bought 2 1-barrel systems. We bought the Blichmann 2-vessel system. You mash in one, boil in the other. Fermenters, we went with the 1-barrel Spidels. I love my Spidels. 1-barrel plastic Spidels. They're awesome fermenters. Never had any issues with bacteria or anything else like that. They were, a little over $100. We used corny kegs to hold our beer and to carbonate it. So just like a homebrew setup, we carbonated in the corny kegs. We built a cold room instead of buying a big refrigeration unit, walk-in freezer or fridge. We built one with a bunch of insulation instead of having a big refrigeration unit, generator, whatever the hell they are. We used an air conditioner with I forget the unit now because this was back 2017. No, it wasn't the Inkbird, similar to the Inkbird, where it would cause the air conditioner to cool down to fridge temperatures. Worked perfectly. We didn't give a shit if we burn out an air conditioner because you just buy another used air conditioning unit and put it back in. Saved a ton of money doing it that way. Built all our own bar furniture. My business partner did. Another buddy. And I'll tell you about him brewing with us here in a bit, but he's a master with concrete. He built an incredible bar top. It's still in the location. That place, the building will fall down before that concrete bar top goes anywhere. And that's what we did. We needed a little extra money. So before we launched, we offered the lifetime memberships. to the brew pub instead of doing the once a year beer club. We did do that as well. But if you bought before we launched, you had a lifetime membership. Now, unfortunately, the brew pub's out of business, so it wasn't quite a lifetime membership. But anyway, what that gave them was the usual beer club stuff. It was $100 and we sold it to 100 people. So they sold out fast. So we raised some money there. What else did I do, guys? A neat thing I did was I brought in local homebrewers to brew with me. I didn't pay them. I did pay them, but I didn't pay them a salary. I paid them a commission on any keg they sold. So we had 1-barrel system, which would produce 6 kegs. Guys would use both systems at once, same brew time, and they would brew 12 kegs at a time. Give them a commission every time one of their kegs sold. Started out at $50 a keg, which is way too much. I'm out of breath here. I'm a fat pig. We dropped it to $25, which didn't make a lot of them happy. But anyway, we still thought that was very fair considering we were providing everything for them. So that worked out good. What was real cool with that strategy was guys would bring in their friends because they would say, hey, my beer's on tap. I'm brewing here. So it was a neat marketing strategy because these guys would bring a lot of their friends would show up to hang out there. They would hang out there. People would come in wanting to buy their beers, try them out. So that was a neat little idea that I came up with that worked really well for us. We had 25 taps. Majority was our beer. We did bring in guest taps. We also had like cider and that on board. That changed the industry around here to an extent, because when we had 25 taps, we market that. A lot of the other bars and breweries started adding a lot more taps to kind of keep up with that little trend we had going. We had food. We had appetizers only. We bought 2 little used, cheap, inexpensive. I think they're, if I recall, an old school had them. A school had them. They're old fryers. We did appetizers. I had read in my marketing research that if you have food, people will buy, I don't know what it was, 2.5 more beer than they would if there wasn't food. So our goal there was just to bring people in, break even on the food. So we sold our appetizers for inexpensive. People loved it. And it kept them, we just wanted to break even, sell more beer. The markup on beer is huge. So it's all about selling the beer, in my opinion, when I own that. What else can I tell you guys? What other lessons? Okay, let me tell you about some lessons learned. What happened? Okay, it was fun. We had massive lineups starting out. We did very well. I've discovered in my journey that so the plan was it was a small boutique shop. Okay, so the plan was to open many of these across the country, type of deal. Little tiny ones where you have experiences, come in, craft beer. We did trivia night. We did other type of events, and our plan was to open a bunch of these. One of them I discovered would provide enough income, very much like a franchise, for a one person. Okay, to live nicely on, plus pay some staff and all the expenses. I was an insurance adjuster working my job at the time as well, and very busy doing that. I was able to work from home, so I did work from the brewery, but I was brewing and I was working my job, and then I was hanging out at the brew pub. Of course, that's part of the fun, but can also be a bit of the downfall, especially like beer. And then I was still trying to do my job. The job was paying the bills, so in the end, I decided it was too much for me. Did have a business partner. Again, we're good buddies, but having a business partner, period, they say is more difficult than having being married. We're still good buddies, so all ended well there, just fine. I ended up saying enough's enough. I'm not really enjoying it anymore. Kind of took some of the fun out of making beer, so I offered him my shares and I sold them to him. Unfortunately, the company didn't last much longer after that, but that's not my story to tell. So that's it, guys. Lessons learned. We did brew. Would I do it again? Yes. One of the lessons learned if I was to do it again. Number one would be we like to rotate our beers through. People would complain that there were no staples. Okay. Meaning they would come in looking for one style of beer, it'd be gone. It wouldn't be on tap because we were trying something new. So moving forward, if I were to do it again, I'd probably have 4, 5, 6 staples and then rotate some other beers through. And all right, sorry, I lost my train of thought there. I'm walking an old back road and came across a lady with a couple dogs coming at me. Yep. Anyway, all's good. They did not bite my face off today. So lessons learned. Would I do it again? Absolutely. I was saying that we'd have a bunch of beers brewing. I would make sure I had staples. I'd keep the food. Another thing we did was we lowered the price, and we kind of created a little stir in the industry around here, because I get really ticked off that beer when you go to a tap room at a craft brewery's $10. Come on, that's ridiculous in my opinion. We were selling about $5.50, and that did bring down some of the prices in the industry around here for a little while. Once Bootstrap Brew Pub shut down its doors, prices went back up. Anyway, so we did that as well. People loved that. That brought people in, and the market was great. Like I said, income-wise, enough to have a good lifestyle. You know, you buy a Burger King, you're making 50, 60K a year personal income. Most franchises, that's where it's at. So it could compete with that. What else would it? Not much different. I wouldn't do a whole lot different. Now, if I were to start one up now, I would actually start in my garage, or get a little industrial space and start slow. I would, instead of having to go get a bunch of funding, partners, I would go solo. I would brew, and I would start out selling to restaurants, pubs, golf courses. Then eventually proceed to move into a space where once my name was out there and things were chugging along, I would keep it very small. I might go a little bigger, you know, maybe 5 barrels max. But starting out, probably not, because the price, we bought our whole setup for under 20K for the brew house side of things. I go small again like that starting out, then reinvest the money as you start to get a name and build, you know, generate some income and revenue. I'd do that. I had a guy, he came into my brew pub when I was running it and asked if I would carry his beer. And he was brewing out of his garage, and I did carry his beer, and he made good beer. Now he's basically got the setup I had, except a town over. He started in his garage, and he opened his own little deal as he started to, you know, get known and generate some income. Basically exactly what I just said to do. So that model works. We also we kept it very craft oriented. So we didn't just have beer. We had local ciders and local wines, and also local distilleries, hard liquor in there as well. And I did carry a little bit of commercial beer. Moosehead Breweries is a big brewery around here, employs a lot of people. Some people don't like craft beer. So in order to entice them to come with their craft beer buddies, I did sell some Moosehead products, but I raised the price up quite a bit on them because clearly we wanted to sell our own beer due to the markup that you could put on it and the profit you'd earn from your own beer. What else can I tell you guys? If I were to do it again, I might even look at seltzer. Believe it or not, the market is more wide open. It's growing. It's simple. Fraction of the cost, fraction of the time involved in brewing. And again, there's not a lot of people doing it. I can think of, between the 3 cities that I'm near, I can think of one, and they're really a distillery that just kind of dumbs down their vodka into seltzers, reduces the alcohol and adds some water and carbonates it up. So they're not even really a true seltzer business. So I would consider doing that. Maybe I'm rambling here. Maybe a pub with both those things. Maybe just starting in the garage doing both those things, or maybe doing one. I don't know. Anyway, guys, that's what I got for you guys. Wanted my story. That's the story. Feel free to reach out if you got any questions. Happy to answer. If you want me to expand on any of the components of the brewery, by all means, let me know in the comments, and I will do another video on that. If you're new to brewing, guys, you can check out my Beginner Brewers Bootcamp. The link is below. It's free. And I also give away, guys, my top 5 personal best-selling recipes from my brew pub. You can pick those up as well. They're for free. Link will be in the description. That's what I got, guys. Got to get this walk done. She's getting hot. Big Robb, well, he gone.